Let's go Niners! Let's go Niners! Let's go Niners! Let's go Niners! Faithful Niner Empire. What's good? You know who it is. It's your boy, Jay in the Bay. Faithful Niner Empire. Always a pleasure and an honor to be on with the best fans in the NFL. The 49ers and Broncos meet tonight on Sunday Night Football prime time. Nothing like playing in front of the whole world. Nothing like it. And I know both teams are geeked up and they're ready to put on their best performance. I know the Broncos are looking forward to put on their best performance at home. Their first, their second actually nationally televised game. Their first game was the what was that? That was a Sunday night game, I think. Seattle and Denver, I think that was a Sunday night game, the first matchup. But this is Denver's second nationally televised game. This will be the 49ers first. It's going to be an exciting game. Looking forward to it. It's the return of Russell Wilson. We know we know what this man can do. Russell Wilson is a problem. He may not be with the Seattle Seahawks anymore, but he's still a relevant quarterback. I still think he's one of the top quarterbacks. I know the Denver Broncos have not started off as well as they wanted to this year, but he's still dangerous. Make no mistake about it. Russell Wilson is still a problem for the 49ers. He loves playing against the 49ers. He's had a ton of success against us. Out of 20 games he's played against the 49ers, he's won 16. He's thrown for over 4,000 yards versus us, 36 touchdowns, 10 interceptions. So Russell Wilson has been playing very well versus the 49ers. It'll be interesting to see how he plays against this 49ers team. And I just want to let everyone know the official inactive list for both teams should be out today at around 3:50 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I know there are a few players on both sides who are currently out, but the official list will be in about 46 minutes. So huge shout out though to everyone that came out today to enjoy this pregame stream with yours truly, Jay in the Bay. Feel free to hit that like button. Make sure you subscribe. Hit that bell notification if you guys are ready for some 49er football in about 2 hours. And I think it usually kicks off around 5:15, I think, on a Sunday night. So about 2 hours, 10 minutes. And of course, this is an interactive show. I will be reading all types of comments. So make sure you put your, feel free to let me know what you think about this game in the comment section. Also, let's start the show off. Let's start it off with a question for the faithful, the Niner Empire. I got a question for the faithful. Let's go with this. Over, under 40 receiving yards for wide receiver Danny Gray. That's my question. I'm going to get it started off today, and I'll go ahead and create a banner for that. So I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts in the comment section. Over, under 40 receiving yards for wide receiver Danny Gray. Obviously, we drafted Danny Gray this year, third round. He's a speedster. And it was interesting to see him paired up with Trey Lance. We didn't really see that formulate this season, unfortunately, due to Trey Lance's injury. But can Jimmy G enable Danny Gray to be a threat in this offense? Can Jimmy G get the ball to Danny Gray deep? Now, we saw last week, Jimmy G throw the ball deep against Seattle Seahawks. He threw a deep pass to Ross Dwelly. That was a touchdown pass. He threw 1-2 deep. Ayuk show. Brandon Ayuk unfortunately didn't come down with that, but he'll get it on the next one. And then he also threw deep, I think one was to Danny Gray, I believe, last week against Seattle. So Kyle Shanahan said, hey, well, this is part of the offense, right? This is part of the offense. That's why Jimmy G threw those throws. But let Jimmy G tell it in this press conference he had this week. He said, hey, I'm willing to throw the ball deep. I just run what is called, and hopefully Shanahan calls his bluffs. Like, okay, let's see, Jimmy. Let's see you throw the ball deep, because I think that'll definitely help the overall performance of this offense. We don't want to see 9, 10 guys in the box like we've seen throughout Jimmy's tenure with the 49ers. The defense is basically telling you, hey, we don't respect that you're going to throw the ball deep. We only need one safety back there, and we'll keep 9 to 10 guys in the box to slow down the running game. So I would love to hear you guys' thoughts. Over under 40 receiving yards for wide receiver Danny Gray. I'm going to say under. I hope it's over. I hope Jimmy G, gets an opportunity to throw the ball deep to Danny Gray, but we'll see what happens. But this Broncos defensive line is pretty stout. Randy Gregory, Bradley Chubb, they got DJ Jones. Go DJ, that's my DJ. Go DJ, that's my DJ. I hope DJ Jones has a good game, but if we're still able to win the game, that's all that matters to me. But hey, if DJ Jones gets some pressures, hey, it'll be an interesting matchup between DJ Jones and this interior of our offensive line, which has been playing well so far. But hey, it'll be very interesting this game to see what plays out, because we got two elite defenses going up against each other. So it'll be very, very interesting. But feel free to answer that question in the chat. Over under 40 receiving yards for wide receiver Danny Gray. Let's get to these comments. Let's see. We got Eric Wallace in the building. What's good? How you doing today, Eric? How you doing on this Sunday night? Are you excited for some 49er football? I know I am. David V, what's good? Appreciate you tuning in to the stream tonight, D. He says, what's good, Brother Jay? I hope all is well for you on a Sunday night, David V. We got Bay Area Sports Report, also known as Jay Mouse, in the building. He says, let's feast tonight. What's good? Appreciate you coming in to the stream tonight, man. And absolutely, we definitely need to feast tonight. I think this is one of the best 49ers defenses that's been in the Kyle Shanahan tenure. I know it's only been 2 games, but you look at our weak point last year, which was the secondary. We upgraded that greatly with Charvarius Ward, our prize free agent we signed this offseason. Talanoa Hufanga, it's only been 2 games, but he's arguably been the 49ers defensive MVP so far. I know Bosa is continuing the ball out, but Huff kind of came out of nowhere. No one really expected him to. I believe he leads the team in tackles so far. So Huff is going to have his challenge today because, hey, Russell Wilson's going to throw that ball deep. I'm not sure if Jerry Jeudy's going to play today. I'm sure we'll find out real soon, in about 40 minutes when the official active list comes out. But, he loves to throw to Jerry Jeudy. He loves to throw to Cortland Sutton. So it'll be interesting. The 49ers will definitely – there's no question. Do you guys agree with me? This is the best team that the 49ers have played within the first 3 games of the season. Obviously, Chicago, come on, man. Seattle – let's be real. So Russell Wilson and the Broncos are definitely the most talented team we'll face. I think this will be a closely contested game. It's going to be a tight game, y'all. It's going to be real tight. We got Roberto in the building. What's good? Roberto says, what's good, Jay? Hope you're the best today, man. My man. Absolutely, man. Same to you. I'm geeked up for this game tonight. And Eric confirms that was a Monday night game. Yeah, that was a Monday night game when Denver played Seattle in Seattle. Thanks. I appreciate that, man. KD, what's good? Appreciate you tuning in to the stream tonight, KD. KD says, hello, Jay and the Bay. Do you believe that we had a trade with Jimmy G and them good old Washington Commanders? For those that don't know what KD is referring to, there was a report that came out earlier today. I saw it on ESPN where the Washington Commanders were interested in trading for Jimmy G, but then they lost interest after Jimmy G opted to get shoulder surgery. And supposedly Washington was going to offer up a few like day 2 or maybe even day 3 draft picks for Jimmy G. We'll never know, right? I guess looking at it from this point of view, KD, honestly, I'm glad we did not trade Jimmy G because I think he still gives us a chance to be competitive. I know Brock Purdy, Mr. Relevant Purdy Mania, I know he lit it up in the preseason. He looked good. He looked polished. But, once he's going up against first string NFL defenses, it's a whole lot different than going up against guys who, let's face it, either on a practice squad right now or not even in the league. So I'm glad that, I guess everything happens for a reason, right? Everything worked out. And, we had our insurance, and that was our insurance with Jimmy G, and now we're exercising that. Queen B, what's good? Appreciate you liking the video tonight, Queen B. Queen B says number 8 to thumbs up and first to share out. Appreciate that, Queen B. And feel free to hit that thumbs up button if you're ready for some 49er football. Huge shout out if you're watching on Jay in the Bay YouTube, of course, Jay in the Bay Twitter, and also Jay in the Bay on Facebook. And if you are watching on Facebook, feel free. You can type in Jay in the Bay on YouTube, and you should be able to find me. You can click on this live video, and you can start chatting away in the comment section, and I can read your comments. For some reason, I've seen it on other people's streams where they're able to read their Facebook comments, but for some reason I can't read my Facebook comments, because after my live stream I go into my Facebook, I see there people are watching, and I see that people have commented, but for some reason I can't see those comments live for whatever reason. So maybe that's something I have to work out. But in the meantime, if you are watching on Facebook, feel free to watch on YouTube as well. We got Livy's World in the building. What's good? How you doing tonight, Livy's World? Hope all is well. Will you be eating ranch with your pizza tonight, Livy's World? I'd love to know. Let me know in them comments. And Livy's World says, let's get it faithful. What's good, Jay? All right. And Livy's World, I appreciate that. Livy's World says, show some love, hit that like button. All right, so I did have a question for the faithful, the Niner Empire. I said over under 40 receiving yards for wide receiver Danny Gray, the speedster. I think it's going to be under. I hope it's over. Will Jimmy G stretch the field? We've seen Jimmy G. We know what he can do. He's consistent. He's consistently kind of erratic, which doesn't make any sense. It's an oxymoron, but he can be consistent. He can be erratic. We know he's going to throw that interception. That's what he's averaged so far in his career, a 2-to-1 ratio. If he throws 2 touchdown passes in a game, most likely he's going to throw 1 interception. So will Jimmy stretch the field deep? That's the question for the game, for this offense throughout the rest of the season. This is Jimmy's audition for next year. Jimmy has to play his best. He's got a lot riding on this season. We know he wasn't really supposed to be here, but since he is here, he's got to ball out. He's looking for that next lucrative contract next year from a different NFL franchise. And if he plays his best ball, hey, there may be multiple suitors for Jimmy G next year. In response, though, to that question, over under 40 receiving yards for wide receiver Danny Gray, Bay Area Sports Report Jay says over. Okay. David V says 67 yards and 1 touchdown. All right. Okay. I like that. KD says under. John, what's good? John also says under. Roberto GK85. Yeah, I'm definitely excited to have George Kittle back in the fold. Obviously he was nursing that growing injury. He was out the last 2 weeks, and now we'll get to see George Kittle. I wonder how many snaps Kittle will play today in tonight's game. I would imagine, it would be smart to ease Kittle in. He doesn't need to really play 100% of the snaps, I don't think. But we will see it. And that's also some news that came out recently that, George Kittle is active for tonight's game. I think he's definitely going to help in the run game. So in the tight end room, we'll have George Kittle, we'll have Charlie Warner, we'll have Ross Dwelly. So I think that's a pretty good trio, I think. Let's see. David says balling secondary right now. Yeah, I would agree. I mean, this secondary is playing pretty well, especially with Charvarius Ward. You got Emmanuel Mosley. I know he had that PI last week, but other than that, he's played pretty well. The Seattle Seahawks wide receivers couldn't really do much, even though Geno Smith was efficient with his passing, but he didn't really. There really were no big plays, and Seattle did not score a touchdown in the game, an offensive touchdown, I should say, in the game. So this 49ers defense is definitely playing lights out. We've only played Chicago and Seattle. Obviously, those aren't 2 great teams or 2 teams who are going far in the playoffs this year, but you can only play who's on your schedule. So I'm looking forward to a stiffer challenge in the Denver Broncos. He said, David says he heard Lombardi say that today, that the secondary is balling right now. Absolutely. And I think this will be the toughest secondary I think that Russell Wilson has played versus the Niners. I know when we had Sherman and Mosley, that was pretty good, but I think Charvarius Ward is better than Sherman at this point in Sherman's career, or back in 2019, I should say. Hufanga's playing really well. George Odom and Tayshaun Gibson are playing well. So, hey, we're going to get a test today, though. We'll see how good it is today. That's for sure. We got this guy in the building. What's good? How you doing, this guy? He says, ultimately, Jimmy G had a trade clause, so surgery was his way of saying no thanks. Yeah, that's definitely one way to look at it for sure. Yeah, there's no doubt. But it'd be, I mean, why? When you think about it, and obviously this is all water under the bridge, but why wouldn't Jimmy G want to go to a starting position? Like if Washington traded for him, he would definitely be the starter there. They're not bringing Jimmy G in there to be the backup. So, but yeah, everything worked out the way it was supposed to. Jimmy G ended up agreeing to reduce his contract figure, his money. So, by probably more than 60%. So, hey, it's a win-win. We got Crazy Juice in the building. What's good? Appreciate you joining the stream, Crazy Juice. Hope all is well on a Sunday afternoon. Livy's Well says, you know it, Jay. I can't eat pizza without my ranch. Absolutely. Crazy Juice, any news on Armstead? Great question. So I saw a tweet that was probably about 20 minutes ago, but Armstead was basically preparing, stretching, doing his pregame workouts, whatever. He's preparing to play, but officially Eric Armstead is listed as a game time decision. And we'll have more of an idea of who's inactive and who's not active at 3:50. So in about 30 minutes, we'll have a better idea. But I think it's telling that the 49ers did elevate defensive lineman Akeem Spence to the active roster. And I believe this is the first time he's been on the active roster, or I should say this is the first time he's been up on game day on the active roster. He wasn't active week 1 or week 2, and now he has been elevated. I think this is a precautionary reason. Even if Armstead's able to go, he's not going to play his usual number of snaps, I don't think. I mean, he wasn't a full participant in practice all week. And I think this is smart by the Niners to bring up Akeem Spence and allow him to, get in the rotation of the defensive line. So if Eric Armstead can't play tonight due to his foot, you got Akeem Spence, you got Javon Kinlaw, you got Hassan Ridgeway, and you have Kevin Gibbons. So I think that's a solid front. And the Broncos dual running back attack, that's for sure, with Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon Jr. So those are two pretty good running backs. And we also have pretty good running backs of our own. So, hey, it'll be interesting who's able to run the ball better on tonight's game. That's for sure. And as I mentioned before, the official inactive list will be available 3:50 today. So around 3:50, I'll be looking on Twitter to see who's inactive and active, and then I'll be sharing that news to the Niner Empire. Also, there's some other news that came out, I would say, a few hours ago, and it's about edge rusher Kemoko Turay, and unfortunately, he will not be active in tonight's game. And Kemoko Turay, this was the first week he had been called up to the active roster. If we remember, we signed Kemoko Turay in the offseason. He had been playing pretty well in preseason and in practice, and he did not initially make the active roster. We were able to bring him back, a day or so after the active roster was set. Kemoko Turay signed to the practice squad, and then Jordan Willis got hurt. I believe I think he played a few snaps in week 1, but Jordan Willis basically said, "Hey, I got some issues with my knee. I need to get that cleaned up." So Jordan Willis was moved to the IR, which is he had to be out a minimum of the next 4 games. Kemoko Turay was pulled up to the active roster, but unfortunately, he will not play tonight. It says according to 49er Twitter, says he will not play due to personal reasons. So hopefully, that situation, gets figured out, and hopefully all is good with the Kamiko Toure and him and his family. Hopefully it's nothing too serious, but to miss a game, it's got to be some reason. But hopefully all is well, and hopefully we'll figure out what's going on. But he won't be able to play tonight, so someone else will have to step up. Obviously, you got Samson, you got Nick Bosa; those be your starters. Drake Jackson will be there. Obviously, Jordan Willis is out. Oh, still got Carlos Hyde. He'll be in there as well. So we have a few guys, but Kamiko Toure, I thought he played pretty well preseason and in practice. So hopefully that situation gets figured out. Let's continue on with these comments. Let's see. Let's make sure I didn't forget anyone. Let's see. We got Sean Tuber in the building. What's good? Appreciate you joining the stream tonight, Sean Tuber. I know you're excited for some 49er football. He says, hey, Jay, what's good? What's good to you? John says, I think Danny Gray needs to work on perfecting his route running in our offense. Right now, he's a one-trick pony, kind of with the deep threat. Yeah, I would agree with that. I mean, he can always get better, with running the route tree, that's for sure. But it'll be interesting to see if Jimmy G will throw the ball downfield. Will he force this defense to play the deep ball, or will the defense only have to worry about 10 to 15 yards from the line of scrimmage? Because that's what we've seen from Jimmy G. And Jimmy G can say, oh, I want to throw the ball deep all he wants, but Shanahan's only going to put him in a position to succeed. He's not going to put him in a position where he doesn't think he will flourish. So we will see what happens. Let's see. We got the Rocky Mountain Razorback. What's good? Appreciate you tuning in tonight, Rocky. He says, I'm at the tailgate. It's unreal. Yeah, I mean, the 49ers are showing up and showing out in Denver, Colorado. There were a lot of 49er fans out there, repping the squad. So that's always good to see. Thanks for coming out, man. He says, been going crazy since 12. Okay, since 12 o'clock today. Cool, man. And speaking of, there in Denver, the weather is perfect. We don't have to worry about any rain. It's going to be sunshine. I believe it's going to be about 75 degrees once the game starts, and the temperature will decrease as it gets into the night. But at least we don't have to worry about that. That won't be a factor in today's game. That's for sure. The weather. Hey, Zeus, what's good? Appreciate you coming into the stream tonight, Hey, Zeus. Let me know your keys to the game, Hey, Zeus. Feel free to let me know in them comments. Let me know what's one key to the game for you, Hey, Zeus. I would love to know. Let me know, Jesus. Let me know your keys to the game. All right, we got Rick Diaz in the building. What's good? How you doing tonight, Rick? Rick says, Jay in the Bay, this is Rick. Good afternoon, my friend. I am sorry that sometimes I say certain things on the cover. Please forgive me, my friend. Can we be friends still? How's that sound? Absolutely, man. You always feel free to join in, and feel free to add your input in the comment section, man. I always read your comments, man. I appreciate you tuning in to the stream tonight. Got Blue True in the building. What's good? Appreciate you tuning in, Blue True. Blue True says, happy game day, Jay, at the Rocky Mountain Razorback. Thanks for repping the Niner Empire at the tailgate. Have fun and be safe out there, man. Rick Diaz says, so, my friend, it's okay at the Bay. Let's go 49ers. Yes, protect the ball and no penalties. All right, so Rick gives us his keys to the game. He says, protect the ball and no penalties. Hey, I completely agree with that. Last week against Seattle, we only had one penalty. That's incredible. And I don't think I think the only turnover was the blocked field goal. I think that was it. I don't think we had any other turnovers in that. But Faithful, feel free to drop in one key to the game, key to victory for 49ers. Feel free to drop that in them comments. And Rick says, Protect the ball. Nope. So protect the ball. Don't allow any turnovers on the offense. And then also let's play button-up football with no penalties. I like that. Let's see. Sean Tuber says Rams are looking pretty beatable. I bet, man. I mean, no team is invincible right now in the NFC. No team is invincible. Sean Tuber says Danny Gray in the doghouse. I don't think so. I would love to see. I would have to look up how many targets he has, but I don't think he's in the doghouse. I mean, the first week he was inactive. I think Shanahan thought that in that type of inclement weather in Chi-Town that they wouldn't really be able to use Danny Gray. And they also brought up a receiver who I think was on special teams. So I guess they figured special teams would be a bigger priority than maybe throwing it once or twice to Danny Gray. Week 2, I think, him and Jimmy, they weren't on a rapport yet. There was some miscommunication in week 2, but so far, at least this week in practice, Jimmy and Danny Gray, they have been able to link up as far as on receptions and things like that. So they're able to do it in practice. Let's see if they can actually do it in the game. And hey, we'll find out. We'll find out if he's in the doghouse, but I doubt it. I don't think so. Let's see. Rick says, thank you, Jay and the Bay. Thank you, my friend. The Niners got to do tonight, control the line of scrimmage and protect the ball and no penalties. Hey, I agree. Yeah, controlling the line of scrimmage, I think that's definitely a factor in this game. This 49ers offensive line has played pretty well so far, in 2 games. Granted, it's only 2 games, but the triple Bs, Brindle, Banks, and Burford, they have not allowed a sack. So that's pretty great. Now, this Denver defensive line is much better, I think, than the 2 opponents that we faced so far. They got Bradley Chubb. They got Draymond Jones. I think he leads the team in sacks, Draymond Jones with 2 sacks. They got DJ Jones. They got Bradley Chubb. So they have a formidable front. And, yeah, this 49ers offensive line would definitely have its hands full in creating running lanes for this 49ers running game and also for protecting Jimmy G. Because that's very, very important. And Rocky Mountain Razorback says almost as much red as orange here tonight. Okay. All right. That's good to hear. The 49ers do travel well. One person to thank is definitely John Chapman. I'm sure you guys have heard of him. John Chapman, a YouTuber, excellent 49ers content creator. And he does I think it's the Gold Rush, I think it's like the Gold Rush, where tailgate parties where he has at every away game, he has a party, a get together. So definitely check out John Chapman because he's doing it big. I think he's kind of like the first main YouTuber to have parties and things at away games. So I had never heard of anyone doing it before John Chapman. So check him out. I'm sure you guys have already heard of him, but yeah, he's doing big things and very positive guy. So wish nothing but the best for him. John says he offers up his key to victory for the Niner Empire. He says one key is the offensive line. This will be a good test for our O-line against the Broncos defense line. Absolutely. I reiterate they have a pretty good front. I think Jimmy G is going to have to get rid of the ball quick. Because I don't know how much time he's going to be able to throw. He's not going to have that much time to throw, I don't think. So hopefully we do some quick screens, we do some draws, runs, things like that, some counters to try to confuse this defensive line and maybe use their aggressiveness as a weakness. Maybe use their aggressiveness against them, I should say. One key for David V. He says contain Russ and make him nervous. Absolutely. Outside of Justin Fields and that pass to Dante Pettis, he didn't really do much on script. That was a huge play for the Bears in that game. I think it was 51 yards. If you take that play away, I think he had under 100 yards passing. So he was able to do that because the 49ers did not keep contained. And that's one of the things with Russell Wilson we have to watch out for. When he's able to escape the pocket, when he's able to break out of sacks, break out of tackles, the corners, they can't cover that long, without holding. So if he's able to escape the pocket, go left, right, he's able to give his wide receivers a few more seconds to get open. That's where he's really dangerous. And Russell can still deliver a good deep ball. We haven't necessarily seen it yet. He no longer has DK Metcalf, but Russell Wilson is still a problem. Absolutely. Let's see. The Rocky Mountain Razorback says, no problem, Blue. We going hard out here for the Bay. Absolutely. That's what I'm talking about. So let's see. Let's continue on. I think there might have been a bit of more news. Let's see. Now, we have some sort of reunion going up against the good old Denver Broncos tonight. I don't know if you guys know. We have, obviously, DJ Jones. We drafted, I believe, in 2017 on day 3. And he made the most out of his opportunities with the 49ers. And that made him a viable free agency player this offseason. And the Denver Broncos signed DJ Jones to a lucrative contract extension. He's earned every penny, but we will go up against DJ Jones in this game. Linebacker Jonas Griffith. I'm not sure if he's active, but he was with the 49ers. I believe, what is it, a year or two ago, I believe. Jonas Griffin, he was with us. I think he was a UDFA, undrafted free agent, and we traded him to Denver for a draft pick. So he's with the Broncos. Also, everyone's favorite right tackle, Tom Compton, is with the Denver Broncos. And I'm not sure if he's active, though, but he is with the Broncos. He may be hurt. Also, cornerback K'Wan Williams, the Shark. He did some great things with the 49ers playing that nickel position. So we'll see K'Wan Williams. Also, defensive lineman Mike Purcell. He was with the 49ers in 2014 through 2016. Not a big name, but he will be someone else. So there's a lot of connections with this Denver Broncos roster. And who could forget the 49ers and Broncos history? Obviously, Mike Shanahan, who coached the team for 13 years. Mike Shanahan had 2 Super Bowl victories, obviously led behind John Elway and Terrell Davis. In 2017, when Kyle Shanahan was, looking for a head coaching job, the Broncos were also looking for a head coach, but they decided to go with Vance Joseph instead of Kyle Shanahan. Maybe it's a bit of revenge. Maybe it's a bit of revenge factor there. You never know. Kyle Shanahan obviously grew up in Denver, Colorado for most of his life. So it's definitely a reunion for the Shanahan family to go back to Denver Broncos. John Lynch played for the Denver Broncos in the latter stages of his career. So a lot of history there between the 49ers and Broncos. So it's going to be a very, very exciting matchup tonight. Also got to look at Denver's a few key matches I'm going to be on the lookout for. Denver's run defense versus the 49ers run offense. Now, the Denver Broncos, they did allow 4.6 yards per carry last week against the Houston Texans, and their running back, Dameon Pierce, he was able to have success versus this Denver run defense. So I think it's clear they can be run on. And obviously we have Deebo Samuel running the rock. We have Jeff Wilson Jr., who I anticipate will be the starter. And what's the deal with Jordan Mason? Jordan Mason hasn't really got any carries so far. I know a lot of people have been clamoring for Jordan Mason to get some carries. I know Shanahan, he loves his crafty vets because he's confident in their ability. He knows what they will do when they don't have the ball in their hands. He knows what the running backs will do, the veteran running backs in pass protection. So I know a lot of people are saying Jordan Mason should get some carries. I hope to see Jordan Mason, but I don't think he will. And Marlon Mack has been elevated to the active roster. So in this running back room, of course, you got Deebo, you got Jeff Wilson Jr., Marlon Mack, and then there's Jordan Mason. So Jordan Mason has been used on special teams a lot, through the first two games of the season. So will Jordan Mason get some carries? Because I think I asked this question last week in the pregame show, and everyone said, yeah, he's going to get some carries, but, we'll see what happens. Maybe he will. TDP is hurt, unfortunately, with the high ankle sprain. Maybe this will allow Jordan Mason to get some run. But I wonder who's gonna spell Jeff Wilson Jr. Obviously, there's Deebo, but who spells Jeff Wilson Jr.? Will it be Jordan Mason, the UDFA, or Marlon Mack, another veteran? We'll see. But look out for that matchup. Can the 49ers run offense sustain drives with the running game versus this Denver's run defense. We'll see what happens. There's no doubt this is definitely the best defensive team we will have faced this year. Let's see. Rick Diaz says the offense thing tonight. Every player is going to run their assignment, and we will win the game. That's another underrated thing. Just do your job, know your assignment. Don't try to do anyone else's job, but just focus on your assignment. Rick also says they got to stay focused, aggressive, consistent all the way to the fourth quarter. Yeah, I mean this 49ers team in the first half versus Chicago, the defense was dominant. It kind of led up in the second half against Chicago. And then Seattle, we pretty much got a consistent 4 quarters of offense and defense, and hopefully we could continue that against Denver. Now, one thing about playing in Denver, obviously, it's going to be sunny, so we don't have to worry about the rain, right? But you have to worry about the air up there. So the air is thinner up there due to the elevation. So that'll definitely affect the 49ers players. You figure the Broncos players are used to that atmosphere. They practice in it all off-season, training camp, practice, preseason. So they're used to that, but the 49ers are not. So, that could be something to look out for, especially in the second half where this team will get tired. So definitely have to consider that. David V, the Killer Bees, and he's talking about Brendel, Burford, and Banks. Rick says, I'm hoping the offense will have the ball more longer in the field and move the ball, the chains forward, get it chunked. Our yard is in the first quarter, and I hope he scores first. Yeah, there's no doubt. We're going to have to win the time of possession, and I think you win the time of possession by having an effective run game, and that's what Shanahan wants to do. Ideally, if we could run the ball easily, 30 to 35 times or more, I think that's a pretty good day in the run game, and we should be able to win the time of possession. And what that does is Russell Wilson won't have the ball as often, and he'll have less chances to score. So part of the defense against Russ when the defense is not on the field is by keeping the ball out of his hands, by having long sustained drives offensively and keep moving them chains. Rick says we'll see today. She'll see the offensive line to protect our quarterback and play 49er style football. Yeah, there's no doubt we're going to have to keep a pocket for Jimmy G to throw from a clean. He's going to have to throw from a clean pocket. He's not going to be able to evade like we saw from Trey Lance. That's for sure. No doubt we will be tested tonight. And Rick says, yeah, John Chapman is over there with Wayne Breezy, and nothing but Niners. Yeah, I mean, they're doing a hell of a job, building that 49er community, especially on the road. And it's something that, yeah, maybe in the future I would definitely go to. But, yeah, it seems like a rocking good time. David V says beating Seattle without Russ wasn't as satisfying with beating Russ without Seattle B. For me, that was, obviously with Trey getting hurt, that was, it was kind of a bittersweet victory, definitely didn't want to see Trey hurt. And that was, that definitely was not an ideal situation. Obviously glad we got the win. It was a satisfying victory for me, because Seattle has basically owned us. I think Kyle Shanahan has only beat Seattle 3 of the last 11 times, I believe. So, even though they don't have Russell Wilson, they're still a divisional opponent, and there's no doubt we still needed to get that victory. No question about it. I'm just checking Twitter right now to see if they have the active list, so I can be 100% on point with you guys. But it looks like it's not out quite yet. Roberto says, what do you think Hufunga's stats will be tonight? If I had to guess, I would say about 8 tackles, 1 interception for Hufanga. What do you say? Roberto? I say 8 tackles, 1 interception. and maybe 2 pass breakups. Another key matchup that we'll have to look out for is this 49ers pass defense versus Russell Wilson. Hey, look at the stats. Russell Wilson has played pretty well against the 49ers. There's no mistake about that. But we've upgraded significantly in our pass defense. And I'll say it again with Charvarius Ward at corner. I think he solidifies the other side of the defense besides Emmanuel Mosley. And Huff is playing great. Huff, we couldn't really ask for anything better from Huff. He's been arguably the defensive MVP so far this year. But it'll be interesting if the 49ers defense can really contain Russ and not allow him to, throw deep. And maybe if they're able to confuse Russell Wilson with different coverages, it'll be very interesting to see. No doubt. This will be the stiffest test for the 49ers pass defense. There's no doubt this is the best quarterback that we've played all year. I mean, Justin Fields, Geno Smith to Russell Wilson. Come on, man. It's not even close. Not even close. Now, this another key matchup, this 49ers run defense versus the Broncos dual running back threat. They got Javonte Williams. They got Melvin Gordon the third. So they have a pretty stout running back room. And our run defense, I think, has been pretty good so far. But we're going to get our stiffest test this week against Denver. And I'm looking forward to see how will this defense play if we don't have Eric Armstead? How will this run defense be able to hold up against this Broncos offensive line and these Broncos running backs? So, that'll be something else to look out for, because we're definitely going to have to slow down their run game. I think the best bet to beat the Broncos is to make their offense one-dimensional, make Russ try to beat us, and then the defensive lineman can pin their ears back and go after the quarterback. But you got to make sure you bring them down. That's the thing. You got to make sure you bring them down. David McNew, what's good? David offers up his keys to the game. He says, run the ball. All right. Play defense and hope Jimmy G doesn't turn the ball over. Yeah. I mean, that's will Jimmy G turn the ball over? If I had to bet, I'd say, yeah. He's 2-to-1 career TD to interception ratio. He'll throw 2 touchdown passes in the game, but he'll also throw that oh no Jimmy throw. So hopefully we can limit those throws in this game. And Faithful, feel free to drop your score prediction in them comments. I would love to know what the faithful feel about this game. I'd love to know your score prediction in this game. And feel free to drop them off in them comments. I think it's time to get to my keys to victory. I appreciate everyone sharing their keys to victory. Feel free to hit that thumbs up button if you're ready for some 49er football. Also, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't already subscribed to Jay and the Bay. I will have a post-game show tonight. I think it's going to be, at 9:15, I believe. So I have a post-game show, and also you can call in. So win, lose, or draw, the post-game show will happen. And you can call in and give me your thoughts on the game and the rest of the people that are watching. And that'll be tonight, of course, on the Jay and the Bay YouTube channel. But my first key to victory, I believe there's going to be an offensive shift. When Trey Lance went down, Jimmy G came in. He did throw a few deep passes, and Shanahan said that was part of the game plan. If you believe that, I don't know. But will we see the same offense with Jimmy G that we've seen the last 4 years? And that is dink and dunk. Don't really challenge the defense vertically. and basically play horizontal football where Jimmy's throwing behind the line of scrimmage, or Jimmy's throwing from the line of scrimmage to 10 to 15 yards down the field. Will we see Jimmy actually put pressure on this defense to cover the entire field? Hopefully we see that. That's what I want to see. I want to see Jimmy throw deep a few times a game. But we'll see what happens. The last 4 years, Jimmy hasn't really done that, whether it's Shanahan hasn't called that specific play, whether it's Jimmy doesn't make the throw, he sees or he checks down, whatever it is. Hopefully we can put some pressure on this Broncos defense. That's what I'm hoping for. Number 2, return of Russell Wilson. We have to contain Russell Wilson. We cannot let him escape the pocket. We cannot let him, maneuver out the pocket. We have to keep our lanes as defensive linemen. You got to keep contained on the outside, so that way he's not running all around the field. And if we do that, I think we'll definitely be in a better chance to win. That's for sure. But we have to contain Russell Wilson. We got to limit the big plays. He loves to throw deep, and we have to limit his big plays. So definitely have to keep him in check, Russell Wilson. Battle of elite defenses. Now, when you look up both teams, you look up the Denver Broncos defense, the 49ers defense. If you look at the 4 main categories, both defenses rank in the top 5 in these next 4 categories. Total yards allowed, passing yards allowed, rushing yards allowed, and points allowed. We both, 49ers and Broncos, are top 5. So both defenses are legit through the first 2 games. And this Broncos defense has not allowed a red zone touchdown within the first 2 games. Now, granted, they only played Seattle and they played Houston. So not necessarily playoff teams, but hey, those are the numbers. But you look at Russell Wilson and this offense, they haven't scored a red zone touchdown yet. So what gives tonight? Will this 49ers defense continue to dominate? Will we be able to get some pressure on Russell Wilson? Will Nick Bosa get a sack? Will Samson get in there? Will Javon Kinlaw get in there? Fred Warner and the linebackers. I'm very intrigued by both defenses. Obviously, I mentioned the Broncos defensive line. They have a pretty good secondary. I think their best corner man, Pat Surtain, is expected to play. But we will see. Unfortunately for the Broncos, they are without safety Justin Simmons. He is their best safety, and unfortunately he won't be in this game, but the Broncos defense is still stout, that's for sure. Let's see, let's read a few comments before I get to my last 2 keys to victory. David McNew, he gives us his score prediction, and if you're still watching, feel free to drop your score prediction in them comments. David says 49ers win by 3. We didn't do good last season when I did score predictions, so I'm not doing it. That's funny. Hey, I think it will be a close game. I've seen some people where they say the 49ers are going to blow out the Broncos. I'd be very surprised by that. I'd be really surprised by that. I think it's going to be a very, very close game. And look like we do have some breaking 49ers news. Let me get a banner written up for this. So not totally surprising. Not totally surprising, but defensive tackle. Not totally surprising, but defensive tackle Eric Armstead he won't be active for tonight's game. And this is a tweet by Matt Mayoko, great 49ers reporter. But unfortunately, defensive tackle Eric Armstead is inactive for tonight's game. Not a huge surprise, especially since the 49ers brought up to the active roster defensive tackle Akeem Spence. So how will this 49ers defense, especially the run defense, how will they look without defensive tackle Eric Armstead? Armstead tried to work out. He did his pregame workout. They were taping up his foot, but fortunately, Armstead will not be active. So very very disappointing, but it's uh, not a huge surprise. And I think the rest of the inactive players, I think you guys already know, but I'll just repeat it. Running back TDP, he won't be active. Tight end Tyler Croft, and those two guys will be out multiple weeks due to their injuries. Daniel Brunskill, he'll be inactive tonight, and also Kamiko Toure will be inactive. Um, So those are the inactive. And I know the Broncos had a ton of guys on their inactive lists. They had a ton of guys on their questionable list on the injury report. Let's see. Sean Tuber says, I predict the Niners win 27-13. Okay. I like that. I think it's going to be a little bit closer, but we will see real soon. Sean Tuber says, if we beat Russ tonight, it would be like beating the Seahawks twice in 2 weeks. Yeah. It's just too bad the Broncos aren't in the NFC West. You know. Now, as far as other inactives, wide receiver Jerry Jeudy, cornerback Pat Surtain II will be active. So Jerry Jeudy was nursing a rib injury all this week. He was a limited participant in practice, but he's going to give it a go. And, Russell Wilson, that's one of his best targets is wide receiver Jerry Jeudy. Cornerback Pat Surtain, he's probably the Broncos' one or two best corners. So that's good news for the Broncos. My other keys to victory, let's get into it. Let's see. And I can say this, I can literally say this every week. The 49ers need to play button-up football. So last week, we only had one penalty. That was for 26 yards. Obviously, I don't think we'll just have one penalty. That was – you can't play better than that. And that was a bang-bang call, even though Emmanuel Mosley did get to DK a little bit early. But gotta not beat ourselves with terrible penalties. And also, we can't turn the ball over, especially on offense. And last week we did an excellent job at that, so we have to continue that up this week. So number 4, play button-up football. We can't play against the refs and the Broncos. That's not going to work. I'm just going through to see if there's any other inactives that have come out, via Twitter. Haven't seen any yet, except for Eric Armstead. Let's see if the Denver Broncos have released. Okay, yeah. So the Denver Broncos have released their inactives. They have Jalen Virgil, Tyree Cleveland. Those are 2 wide receivers. Cornerback Darius Phillips, safety Delaren Yale, outside linebacker Jonathan Cooper, offensive lineman Billy Turner, and a defensive lineman Iyama Uwazuriki. So those are the Broncos inactives, and I got that off of the Denver Broncos Twitter account. So, but that's good. I mean, hey, the Broncos are basically they're going to be healthy. They got 2 of their best skill guys back. So that's I want to play teams when they're at their best. So that way there's no excuses. We get their best effort, and it's going to be it's going to be a great game tonight. That's for sure. Definitely going to be a great game tonight. Number 5, and I would love to hear you guys' thoughts in them comments. Does Jordan Mason touched the ball tonight. He hasn't really touched the ball the first 2 weeks. He's only been in preseason, or excuse me, he's only been on the special teams so far in the first 2 games. But we know Jeff Wilson Jr. is going to get the bulk of the carries. He's the veteran running back. Kyle Shanahan trusts Jeff Wilson Jr. And, Jeff Wilson Jr., he's not the flashiest back. He's not the fastest, but he's the most consistent back so far. He's healthy. We know Debo is going to pitch in about 5 to 8 carries in tonight's game. And who's going to spell Jeff Wilson Jr.? We just called up Marlon Mack to the active roster. Will he play tonight? Or I should say, will he get carries in tonight's game, or will it be Jordan Mason? We'll see. But the running backs, Denver's run defense allowed 4.6 yards per carry last week to Houston, Damian Pierce. So I think if the Niners can do that, 4.6 yards per carry, I'll take that right now. You're getting almost 5 yards a carry. That makes your second and third downs a lot easier, a lot more manageable. So the 49ers running back, whoever's back there outside of Jeff Wilson Jr. and Debo Samuel, you guys got to, get at least 4 yards a carry. Not only will that make your third downs more manageable and you have less yards you have to get, but also you'll be able to sustain more drives and win the time of possession. So I think that'll be key. If the 49ers do these 5 things, we get an efficient Jimmy G. We contain Russell Wilson. Our defense is able to make more plays than Denver's defense. And we play, we don't beat ourselves with penalties. We don't turn the ball over. And our running backs have an efficient game on the ground. I think the Niners will win this game. I think the Niners win this game 21-17. I think that's what will be the score. Niners 21, Denver 17. It'll be a close game. I'm looking forward to the game. If you haven't already, feel free to leave your score prediction in them comments. But I think it's going to be a very close game. And I think whichever defense only allows 20 points or under, I think we'll win the game. And I think that'll be the 49ers tonight. Let's see. Tisha, what's good? Thanks for tuning in to the stream tonight, Kisha. So inactive for the 49ers, Eric Armstead, Kimiko Toure, TDP, Tyler Croft, and Daniel Brunskill. Those are inactives for the 49ers. Now for the Broncos, they got 2 big actives, which is wide receiver Jerry Jeudy and cornerback Pat Surtain. So those 2 guys will definitely be active tonight. And so the 49ers inactive is Eric Armstead. That's the biggest name, Eric Armstead, and Kimiko Toure. Tommy Huxley, what's good? Appreciate you tuning in to the stream, Tommy. Is that your score prediction? Really, Tommy? You got the Niners winning 3-2? What? David V says the Niners winning 24-10. All right. And a lot of the score predictions I've seen, the Broncos haven't, I don't think I've seen any score prediction where the Broncos score over 20. And I think that's a testament to this 49ers defense looking really good in the first 2 weeks. Granted, we're going to get our stiffest test tonight, but that's what I've seen a lot. And the 49ers defense, hey, you could say they deserve that because they played lights out the first two weeks. We got Redder in the building. What's good? Appreciate you joining the stream, Redder. Hopefully you're having an excellent Sunday night. Let's see. Sean Tuber, hey, diddle. George Kittle up the middle. And we didn't even really talk about George Kittle. I mean, I mentioned that George Kittle, he will be active tonight. The first game he's going to be active this season. What can we expect from George Kittle? I don't think he'll play 100% of the snaps, but, hopefully he can get a few catches. 3 catches, 45 yards, maybe a touchdown. I'll take that. I don't think George Kittle will play all the snaps, but, I think it's good to get him out there. Also, you got to remember the Niners are playing in Denver with the elevation, which makes the air thinner. It's harder to breathe. So for George Kittle, who hasn't really played, I mean, I think George Kittle played in one preseason game. I think he might have played one or two series, but you got to be able. The only way you get the wind to play football, you have to actually play football in order to get that wind. And George Kittle doesn't have that yet, so there's no way he's playing all the snaps. But it will be good to see number 85 out there. Absolutely, Tommy Huxley with a great question. Can we stop the run without Armstead? Well, we're going to have Javon Kinlaw in there. We're going to have Kevin Givens, Hassan Ridgeway, and Akeem Spence. Maybe even see Kerry Hyder line up in the middle as well. So, or even a Charles Omenwayhu, but most likely those players will probably be lining up inside on passing downs. But that'll be a great question. I don't know. We'll see. But that's going to be, I mean, that's a huge, that could be a huge liability out there in the middle of the defense. I like Kinlaw, but Armstead, hey, he's been pretty good. I would say easily the last 2 years, Armstead has been one of the better defensive linemen, especially in stopping the running game. So this is a huge loss, I think. But the other guys, they have opportunities. They got to step up. And our run defense will be tested. Make no mistake about it. Sean Tuber says Dwelley he's been good lately filling in for George. I agree. Yeah, George Dwelley got that TD catch. And yeah, he's looked pretty solid. So I think the tight end room will be just fine. So, but the game will kick off in about an hour 10, maybe hour 15 minutes. Appreciate everyone who tuned in to the stream tonight. Tommy, you gotta have faith, brother. Come on, Tommy. You gotta have faith, Tommy. Blue True, hot diggity dog. Appreciate that $10 super chat, Blue True. Blue True says a 10 for the win. Faithful, I like that. But yeah, appreciate everyone tuning in to the stream tonight. Be safe. Enjoy the game tonight. And then once again, I got the Niners winning 21-17. I will have a post-game show, so if you guys are still up, it will be lightweight late. But I'll be on, I think, at 9:20. Also, you can call in and voice your opinions of the game tonight. So go Niners. Definitely think we'll win. It'll be interesting to see if we'll be able to slow down that run without Eric Armstead next to Kinlaw. So we'll see what happens, but at least we got George Kittle back. So, but appreciate everyone tuning in tonight. Let's see. Tommy says we need Armstead. Man, he is the X factor. Really? I mean, hey, I love Armstead, but we'll see. We'll see. We shall see. I mean, he's definitely an important part of this defense, but can other guys step up in place for him for one game? We'll see. Broncos do have a formidable running back room. There's no doubt about that. So, but I appreciate everyone's thoughts. I appreciate everyone who liked, subscribed, tell a friend, share it, and I'll see you guys later tonight. Go Niners.